Wow.
Hi, KubeCon. We want to share the story of building a platform and a community, and how those two together are shaping the future of the Norwegian public sector. My name is Audun, and this is Hans Kristian. This story actually starts at the KubeCon in Berlin more or less exactly 8 years ago. It was my first KubeCon and the first KubeCon in Europe. I was presenting something about continuous delivery on Kubernetes, and I was just about to start my new job at NAV. How many of you were at KubeCon that year? If you were, you probably remember this. This was the year when Kelsey Hightower was the keynote speaker, and at the time he was the megastar of the Kubernetes world. He got an incredible reception when he came on stage. I remember a standing ovation and people screaming and maybe some smoke machines or something. That's what I think, at least. He held a great live demo and told some great stories. But our story actually starts outside the convention center, in the queue to get in. As I said, I was about to start working for NAV, my first job in the public sector. NAV is a large part of the Norwegian government, and we pay out benefits to the sick and unemployed, and we help get people back to work. So in the queue outside, I met a guy called Are Vattekar. And he was leading the platform team for the tax authorities in Norway. So basically, he was trying to do the same job as I was going to start, but at a different part of the public sector system. We realized that there was a great potential for cooperation and learning from each other and from the different teams. And just in that queue, we met several other people doing the same thing in the public sector. So when Are and I got back from Berlin, we started to work on trying to build that community. We set up a Slack, and we quickly got loads of members. And we planned our first meetup, and Hans Kristian got involved quite early as well. So this picture is from the meetup 1 month after KubeCon. We had 80 participants, and presentations, and an open space. And many of these people are here at KubeCon today.
So this lucky encounter became what is known today as Offentlig Pass, or Public Pass Norway, a one-of-a-kind grassroots community for discussing and collaborating on all things related to modern application platforms. We have managed to gather over 2,000 engineers across 86 organizations across most of the public sector. And each year we organize several meetups where members are sharing from their own experiences on a wide variety of topics, gathering hundreds of attendees of all of Norway. At the heart of the community is the Slack workspace that Audun mentioned. Here members can discuss and collaborate freely with like-minded individuals and organizations without someone trying to sell them something. It has also become a place where you can ask questions about a service or an API from another government agency, since they're all gathered under one roof. Government efficiency before it was cool.
But our job wasn't just to build a community. We also had to build a platform, as I talked about earlier. And we had decided to call our platform NICE. Our naming strategy was first to find a cool word and then try to retrofit it into something. And NICE means NAV NAV application infrastructure system or service. It kind of depends. And this was a part of a quite big transformation we had. Before this, we had 600 or 700 consultants doing most of our development work. But we wanted to insource and hire our own developers. I was among the first developers being hired at NAV, and now we have hired over 300 developers making services for the people of Norway. And actually, making a platform like this is a really good recruitment tool, because it helped us show the different developers that they could work at NAV and use the cool new technologies. And at that time, that was particularly Kotlin, Docker, Postgres, Kafka, and of course, Kubernetes. And NICE became a really strong brand. We had made stickers, t-shirts, socks, hoodies, cakes, everything to kind of build the brand of making good software at NAV. And another thing we did was we open sourced the whole platform. And that's really important to many developers, that they can use and make open source code. And this actually evolved into NAV open sourcing a lot of the code that we write to make services for the Norwegian people. I just checked, and we have about 3,000 open repositories on GitHub.
Yeah, so no KubeCon presentation is ever complete without our favorite configuration language, YAML. This is the NICE application manifest. This is our interface to our users, the developers. We created this back in 2018, when CRDs and RBAC in Kubernetes was just released. The operator pattern has allowed us to move to the cloud and switch out implementation details underneath with few to no changes in how the application is built or deployed. And today, we have 10 custom-built operators all working together as a part of the NICE platform. And as you can probably guess, this is a bare minimum configuration, only exposing a very simple application without any dependencies or add-ons that the platform can provide. The application manifest can easily become quite complex, but luckily we have documented all the different parameters and how to use them on our public doc site, link in the QR code. And we take great pride in having high quality and living documentation that is easily available to our developers, and we believe that this has been crucial for adopting the platform internally. And today, the NICE platform allows our developers easy and self-service access to a golden path of functionality to build, run, and operate their applications. It's built on a solid foundation of open source technologies, many of which are part of the CNCF Foundation. And this has allowed us to scale the platform to hundreds of autonomous product teams, building thousands of applications, and continuously rolling out new changes to production as we are speaking right now. And teams own their own CI/CD pipelines for their applications and calls on the platform whenever they want to build, sign, and deploy their app. The platform provisions all the dependencies the application declare, such as databases, message queues, or caches. No need for any other infrastructure provisioning tool or ClickOps. And just this week, just in time for KubeCon, we successfully migrated all of our teams and apps over to Valky. And as a part of the application deployment, we also generate software bill of materials, or SBOM, which is an inventory of all the software components and their versions that the application contains. It's like the ingredients list that you find on the back of food items. And we use these ingredients to scan for known vulnerabilities and are on our way to 100% SBOM coverage, currently at 93%. And for the longest time, the platform did not have its own graphical user interface, only APIs and CLIs. But as a number of teams and application grew, we saw the need for giving our teams a quick and easy way to get an overview, keeping track of key metrics such as known vulnerabilities, resource utilization, and cost. And we have found that giving teams access to this information improves the overall quality and reduces unnecessary spend. And as you can probably see from the screenshot, we did not go with Backstage, but opted for building our own developer portal after a lengthy evaluation. It's fully open source and available under the NICE GitHub organization. And NICE Console is tailor-made to how our application operator functions, and you will find the same resources as available through the application manifest.
And NICE actually works. This graph shows the deployments to production, for average per week, per year. And when we started in 2017, we had like 4 or 5 or maybe 10 deployments per week. Now we're up to almost 3,000 deployments into production every week. And we've done this while modernizing a lot of the services and products, and it made it possible to automate and improve all the public services of now. So we had this great thing, this platform, and we had this community where we talked about it. And a lot of people wanted to learn from us, and we were really willing to share as well. We met with lots of people, and we presented, and we even made podcasts. At the same time, the team continued to make NICE even nicer, making a lot of what Hans Kristian just talked about. But we realized that sharing wasn't really enough. We wanted to take this a step further. And we decided we wanted to try to make NICE available as a service for other organizations. So we made NICE as a service. And we stupidly thought that was going to be quite easy. All we had to do, we thought, was to add some automations around how we provision clusters. So we could set up a new cluster for every new organization that wanted to use NICE. But it turns out the technical parts were the really easy ones. All the other stuff was much more difficult. One thing, for instance, was, and we're developers, remember, we had to learn how to sell stuff. And selling is very difficult. So creds to all people actually managing to sell software products. That's much more difficult than making them. And also, we're government agencies. There's loads of red tape. For instance, there's rules governing how you purchase stuff in the public sector. And we had to find a way, and we did, find a way of selling nice without having a tender process, which everything else needs. And when we did that, we had to figure out stuff like, do you need VAT on top of the price of what you're selling? I won't bother you with the details, but if you're interested, I have a 5-page document written by a team of lawyers explaining why we don't. And we had to make loads of agreements. We had to have a data privacy agreement, a security agreement, and other agreements handling all the commercial stuff. Again, more difficult than making a good platform. And we had to make 3 different departments in Norway agree on the fact that this was a good idea. Also quite difficult. We managed to get 3 different departments to agree on the fact that it wasn't a bad idea. And that was enough. When we had that, we can continue.
So today we have 2 other organizations using NICE as a service, the Statistics Norway and the Directorate of Agriculture. Several other government administration and agencies are currently evaluating, and I know many who are attending KubeCon today also wants to use it. This is a fully managed service, as Audun mentioned, where the platform team at NAV is responsible for operating and maintaining all of the platforms, including 24/7 support. Each instance of NICE is completely isolated from other instances, sharing no resources, networks, or accounts, and is provisioned fully automatically. And I asked Statistics Norway for a quote why they chose us, and this is what they said. NICE takes care of the platform, so we can take care of the data, and I think that's very spot on what we are aiming for.
So what have we learned from this process? First of all, treat your platforms as products. Make the platform the same way you make other software. It's not about solving your own problems, it's about solving the user's problems. And that's really easy to forget when you try to make stuff, so remember that. Also, be open source and make a community. Working in the public sector, we really believe that all the code that we make should be seen and possible to read by everybody who uses our services and products. And also, especially in today's political climate, try to use open source software as much as possible. Reduce dependencies on large companies. And for us, ownership was essential. In-source your development. And as a consequence of that, having loads of developers will generate loads of good products that can be shared, just like we did with NICE. And for that to work, you have to reduce the red tape and make it really easy to share good products across the Norwegian public sector. So, try to make everything nice, and of course, be nice to each other. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you are working with platforms in the government sector, please find us after the keynote. We're so happy to talk with more of you.
Thank you.